And we're back. What's up? It's DeAnna, Lorraine, and you're on Make Love Great Again. Let's get right into the content here because there were some issues before, but here we are. We are back. Now, let's talk about some real issues here. I'm going to move this right over here. And I'm going to move this right over here. Okay, let's talk about this monkeying around business, because this is something that I'm actually really passionate about.
In Florida, he is President Trump's pick in that high-stakes race, and he is now accused of using racially charged language targeting his African-American opponent. This, of course, just one day after their primary there. ABC's Victor Oquendo leads us off from Miami. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Cecilia. This race between two very different candidates has barely begun, and already we have a controversy.
Tonight, just hours after Andrew Gillum became Florida's first ever African-American nominee for governor.
We're going to unite this state in ways that are unparalleled in the history of the state of Florida.
His Republican opponent, Ron DeSantis, went on the attack.
The last thing we need to do is to monkey this up by trying to embrace a socialist agenda with huge tax increases and bankrupting the state.
DeSantis also saying this about his opponent.
This is a guy who, although he's much too liberal for Florida, I think he's got huge problems with how he's governed Tallahassee. He is an articulate spokesman for those far left views, and he's a charismatic candidate.
The backlash to those words, monkey this up, instant. The head of the Florida Democratic Party declaring it's disgusting that Ron DeSantis is launching his general election campaign with racist dog whistles.
Wow.
Team DeSantis saying he was referring to Gillum's policies, calling the claims of racism, quote, absurd.
It is
Their
absurd.
statement read on Fox News, but the anchor adding this.
We do not condone this language.
Congressman DeSantis winning the nomination, powered by his allegiance to President Trump.
Ron loves playing with the kids.
I don't understand this, because if you think of a black person, when you hear the word monkey, you're the one who's racist, right? I don't think of a black person when I hear the word monkey. I think of either a monkey or I think of monkeying around, like horsing around or messing something up, monkeying something up. Like I was doing earlier with the technology. I monkeyed up my technology, right? That's the phrase for it. I don't think of a black person. I just don't. I never have and I never will. Well, maybe now I will because the liberals are making such a big deal out of it. But the people who are thinking of black people when they hear the term monkey, they're the ones who are racist, right? I mean, how could they think of something so absurd? And if you think the word a compliment, I mean, he was praising this person and saying he was, he was rightfully critical of him and saying that his policies are too liberal and socialist. But then he was complimenting him, saying he's an articulate and charismatic spokesperson. So now the word, even complimenting someone, is racist. And it's subtly racist now. I guess the word articulate is not something that you're supposed to use for a black person. You can call me articulate all day long. I think that's a compliment. I think it's a compliment when you say that someone's articulate. But I guess because of the color of someone's skin, it's either a compliment or it's totally racist and worthy of tearing down someone's career. I think that's really scary. And I think that's really, we need to not let people let them get away with this anymore. It's so tiring and it's so boring and it's so old by now. Like, I just want to yawn. I mean, do liberals literally keep falling for this over and over and over? Oh, guess what? The white person who's running as a Republican is racist. He's a huge closet racist. And they keep falling for it? I mean, how do they fall for this? Doesn't it ever get old? Don't they ever think that they're being sheep, just led down this track over and over and over again? It's just a track by this point. It's totally predictable, right on schedule, completely predictable. And to me, it speaks to the stupidity of liberals that they buy into this over and over and over without any kind of investigation, without any kind of curiosity or research to see if the guy really is racist. Anyways, we need to be focused on his policies. not what his words are. And the fact that anyone can be considered racist these days, really it's liberals that are racist, because anything all of a sudden is a dog whistle. The whole articulate thing is ridiculous. I don't think it has nothing to do with race. A monkey has nothing to do with race. And that's why I say, if you think of a black person when you think of monkey, you are the racist. You are the racist. I love it. Well, I'm not going to, we can't let these good people be smeared and slandered by them anymore. We just can't. People need to stand up and fight for them and say, this person is not racist. I've known him for decades, or I've known him my whole life. He is not racist. I hope some great conservative black people will stand up alongside him and rally for him and give him some street cred, whatever. Have you noticed that the terms they come up anytime there's an election is on the right is that it's racist, and on the left it's they're socialist, but there's both of them. Yeah, I'm not sure what that means, but yes, I think I get the gist of it. It's a script every time, no matter who the person is. As soon as a white person comes out who's a Republican, they run the script. He's racist, dog whistle. He's running a campaign against racism. I mean, to me it speaks to the stupidity of the liberals. They'll buy anything. They're so gullible. Oh my gosh, it's sad. All right, moving on. Speaking of racism and stupidity, my favorite person ever is back in the media.
He reads stories.
My favorite person ever, the hero. Hold on. Well, again, as soon as we get this technology going. DeSantis didn't say anything wrong, but he did give the left an opportunity to race bait. But how did he give them an opportunity if he wasn't consciously thinking of it? That's just in his vocabulary, messing something up, monkeying around. So why should he, unless you really have to, I guess, every single word you have to watch, but I don't think he did anything wrong. He certainly shouldn't have apologized of it. And shame on Fox News for apologizing for it, actually. Shame on Fox News for apologizing and saying, we don't condone this language. You don't condone using the word monkey? Okay, what about when there's a monkey in the news? Monkey in the middle, monkey see, monkey do. Stupid Fox News. That really makes me upset that they apologized on behalf of him. It's about him deliberately doing, people hang on every word of men. Yes, but this is Orwellian, though. We can't do this anymore. Here's my favorite person. Colin Kaepernick. Good old Colin Kaepernick, our American hero, is back in the news. And here's another person that we need to not allow another inch to win. He is moving forward with his grievance, with his lawsuit, suing the NFL for collusion, right? Can you believe this sorry loser, this sorry sack? Look at him. He's such a loser. And he's suing the NFL because he believes that they colluded against him to not hire him. All right? Look at this. His allegation that the NFL colluded to deny him a contract as punishment for his lead role in player protests will get a formal hearing after an arbitrator denied the league's request for a summary judgment. Kaepernick's lawyer, celebrity lawyer Mark Garagos, who's actually pretty damn good, and that worries me a little bit that he can actually win this stupid thing, tweeted out a photo of the letter received from arbitrator Stephen Burbank on Thursday. Breaking news, says Garagos. The former San Francisco quarterback who took a knee during the pregame national anthem to protest police brutality found himself without a team after he entered free agency. Yeah, The reason why you don't have a team is because A, you suck and your time is up and you're done and you're a has-been and you just weren't that good anymore. And B, because people didn't like what you were doing maybe. Maybe people didn't like the fact that you were dishonoring millions of people, millions of Americans by sitting or kneeling for the national anthem, for our treasured national anthem. Maybe, I don't know, military, veterans, and Navy SEALs who have risked their lives, families who have had loved ones lose their lives for our country, who millions of Americans love our flag and proudly salute the national anthem. You take this opportunity to spit on their faces and take a shit all over the national flag and the national anthem. Maybe people don't really like when people do that. I don't know. Maybe people don't like when rich, spoiled brats who were adopted into white American upper-class families then get paid millions of dollars to play a sport and entertain people all day long. Maybe we don't really like it when you then act like you piss off the very people who are paying you and watching you every day. That's just a thought. Maybe people don't really like that too much and don't really want that on TV. That's the reason why, maybe. No, it has nothing to do with your skin color. No, it has nothing to do with police brutality or that we don't care to hear your social justice issues. I'm pretty sure it has to do with we don't want your entitled, spoiled, communist, anti-American ass on TV anymore. That might have something to do with it. Oh, look who's saying I'm racist. You get your white sheet and hood out of the cleaners yet? Yeah. So because I'm criticizing Colin Kaepernick for desecrating the national anthem, I am a KKK member. That's what you think. That's the stupidity of the liberal argument now. That's what it's come down to. Because I disagree with you disrespecting the national anthem and millions of Americans and veterans, I'm a KKK member and I have a white sheet in my closet. Really? Really, troll? Try a little harder, troll. Try a little harder. I'm sick of it, and I really hope to gosh that he does not win this lawsuit because it will be a severe blow to Americans. You know, the message it will give is that you can be a completely entitled, spoiled brat and make millions of dollars and not have any platform to stand on. Zero. He has zero platform to stand on and still win and still have people cow down to you and win. So it will be, if he wins this lawsuit, a huge blow to Americans, to veterans, and to, you know, to honor and to integrity and to honesty. And we can't let that happen. There's been too many dishonest things that have happened lately where we've favored criminals. We have favored criminals. We have favored people who are dishonest, who have lacked integrity, anti-American. We have favored those people and let those people off the hook instead of favoring people who are good, honest, decent people with good, honest causes and people who are pro-America. It's ridiculous. And thank you for those of me here defending me that I'm not racist. You guys know I'm not racist. I stand up for truth and integrity. And Colin Kaepernick is totally out of line. I'm sorry, he is. The fact that he was also raised by upper-class white people, that he was adopted by, and, you know, the other thing is if these guys are so oppressed, okay, and if they are so oppressed and they feel so strongly about the issues of police brutality and systemic racism in the U.S., great. Choose you know, you are off season for many months of the year. Why don't you do something, start a campaign, create a commercial, you know, have it play on CNN, Fox News, NBC throughout the day, rally up people, do marches, really donate to the cause, find ways to fix these issues, and rally up support all year long. Any other time except for those 5 minutes that you're on the job that we're supposed to be saluting the national anthem. But no, of course, there's crickets all year long from them. They don't do this. They don't choose any other time to do it. And that's my issue with it. Choose another time. If this issue is something that you're so passionate about, that's great. We all have issues that we're passionate about. Choose a different time. Yes, it is for publicity. He was doing great until the protest, and once he took that stance, that was it. He was not being used. But that's the risk he took. Other people though have sat down or kneeled for the national anthem, and they still have careers, am I right? His girlfriend has a lot to do with his behavior. Well, the thing is too, here's my thing too, and you guys have heard this before, so I'm not going to rant too long about it, but I have very much respect for the Black community and for, I mean, all Americans. I don't really, honestly, I don't see people in color. I think it's a very divisive thing to do, and I think actually that's very racist. Democrats refuse to look at people by the content of their character. They simply refuse to. They only want to look at people by the color of their skin and whatever group they belong to. And that's the definition of racism. So anyways, I don't see people by their skin color. However, if I'm looking at numbers or I'm looking at, issues, problems in the U.S., if I see trends and patterns, I'm going to speak about them. And something that is a fact that's undeniable is there are certain problems that the Black community are experiencing right now, perhaps more so than members of other communities. And some of their problems are fatherlessness. The rate of fatherlessness is astronomical in the Black community. I believe it's 84% of Black families do not have a father present at home. And at least 72% of babies born in the Black community, the father is not there. All right, they're having them out of wedlock. They're just having the babies and there's no real engaged father. There's also a lower education rate among the Black community and a high incarceration rate, high drug abuse rate. And I say this with complete heart and compassion because these are real issues and these are quantifiable issues. They are measurable issues, right? They have numbers behind them. And I am passionate, and I would be passionate about trying to fix these issues. We can all, as a country, look at this and say, these are problems and they're quantifiable, and we can work together and get behind them together. And if we actually educated people on the importance of having the father at home, or the importance of not going around having a lot of babies and being married, having a marriage, an intact nuclear family, and promoted education and staying at home with your kids to raise them instead of having them be latchkey kids and getting into all sorts of trouble, right? Or joining gangs. If we can educate people in those regards and really promote those values more and try to lower the rate of fatherlessness and increase the rate of intact nuclear families, oh my gosh, we can actually bring that rate down. And we know that the lack of fathers is directly correlated to the biggest societal ills in our country. The lack of fathers, when a father is not in a home, the kids are much more likely to turn to get addicted to drugs, to get into jail. 85% of men in jail and all prisoners come from fatherless homes. Drug abuse, right? Alcohol abuse. Dropouts, 71% of school dropouts come from fatherless homes. Poverty, right? When you come from a fatherless home, you are 50% more likely to get into a poverty situation and to not be successful when you grow up and to also be poor. It perpetuates from generation to generation. If you want to read my book, Making Love Great Again, I talk about all the statistics of fatherless homes and broken families. But if we know these things from a fact, right, these are the things that are seriously the reasons why Americans, and especially in the Black community, are suffering right now and why they're having issues, why as adults they might be school dropouts, or why they may be less educated, why they may not be successful. But they're pointing the fingers at the wrong the wrong issue. The reason for their lack of success is not systemic racism. It is not police brutality. It is the lack of fathers in homes. Watch Jesse Lee Peterson stuff. He agrees with me 100%. Rebuilding America by rebuilding the man, right? Rebuilding fathers. He talks all about that. Wonderful self-made black man. I really respect him. But, you know, we're pointing the fingers at the wrong places. Why? Because they want to keep you in victimhood. Because Democrats want to keep black people and minorities as essentially their slaves so they can be victims and dependent on the government. If they're pointing their fingers at the wrong thing, they're chasing their tails, you know, on this wild goose chase, and they never get anywhere. They're still victims, and they're still hooked on the government. The government is their savior, and they will remain in poverty and victimhood. And someone who actually has compassion, someone who actually isn't racist, and someone who actually wants to change things, wants to focus on solutions. Solutions that are real, solutions that are tangible, solutions that are actually solvable. And it's these are solutions I'd be more than happy if Colin Kaepernick spoke out about, and these very influential black leaders who have huge influences and huge fan bases. I really disrespect the fact that they don't use their platforms for speaking about issues like these that could really make a difference. And they're perpetuating this victimhood, this slavery. All their fans are just eating it all up. Yeah, the problem with our lives is because of police brutality. It's because of racism. No. This is why I can't respect these people. They're not honest. It's intellectually and morally dishonest what they're doing, and I can't stand it. Have the courage and the strength to talk about the real issues of what's going on and problems that we can all stand behind. I still don't think you should use the national anthem as that moment of protest. But use a different time, respect our country that's giving you so much, and we can all get behind and really respect what you're doing if it's a problem that we can actually fix. Get off the talking points. All right, anyways, yes, they want to be the party of the poor. Couple other things. Inner cities are full of crimes because Dems run them, and the GOP won't bother with these areas. Well, but Trump has offered to fix these areas, hasn't he? He's offered to even send the National Guard in the areas, and I think he's really trying to fix them, solutions. Here's some other things that are ridiculous. Look at this. I feel this is another thing that we can't allow to happen. Poor Papa John, disgraced Papa John's founder, gets really weird on Personal Truth, or website. This guy, it's so sad. He was a big patriot. And unless I'm mistaken, he was a really good guy, right? He was really pro-military, really pro-vet, very pro-America, donated a lot, was always at the sports games and the football games and everything. And, you know, just a really down-to-earth, good old American. And he got strong-armed out of his own company. He created Papa John's. It's his business. It's his empire. This is how Orwellian and disgusting we live in. You know, this is a mob mentality. It's mob, and it's scary. It's no different than just a mafia, right? Taking people out of their own companies that they built and started with their own bare hands and money. They took him out, and it was very unfair what they did. I guess they overheard him say a joke, and they thought that he might have said the N-word, you know, an occasional use of the N-word, and who knows if it was a joke or not, whatever. Now, I am never a fan of the N-word. I don't say it. It's not in my vocabulary. It's not in my heart. I've never even said it in my life. But, and I'm wrong, and it's wrong. I don't condone it. However, I hope that we can all agree that it's dangerous when, if he's using this, and he used this in his private time, if he even used it at all. He denies it. I don't even think he used it. He said maybe it was a joke or something, or referring it to someone else. But in his personal time with a former employee, they used it to attack him, and then took him down and basically fired him from his own company. And I really hope that we can all agree that that is not free speech. That is not the country that we live in. The country we live in and signed up for allows us to use the words we want to use. And the cost is it may offend certain people. But the reward is that we have free speech. We don't live in a communist country, although it's getting to there. We live in a country where we are able to say things, and a lot of times, yes, they are offensive or they are outrageous, but we're able to say them. And this whole terminology, hate speech, that's unconstitutional, right? That is unconstitutional. It is anti-free speech. There is no such thing as hate speech. It's a made-up Orwellian term, once again, and it's completely subjective. That's the problem with it. Anything that is subjective is really anti-constitutional. Non-constitutional. To say hate speech or to say, gender pronouns or something, that's, we don't have that in our Constitution. To say, because my hate speech might be someone else's great speech, right? Me, I say, we need borders. We need strong borders. And anyone who can't follow the laws, they're illegal immigrants, right? That is actually a truth. That is the law of the land, right? But I said that, and that's a fact. Now, someone else hears that, and they think that is hate speech. And that's true. That many people have said, that's hate speech. You're a Nazi for saying that we need to enforce borders. So that just shows you right there that there is no such thing as hate speech, and we cannot certainly promote that or somehow put that in our Constitution, because that's the end of free speech there. We can't have subjective speech like this in the Constitution, or we can't have it in our country. There's no place for it. That is not what our founding fathers designed and intended. And this is a very sad story with Papa John, just getting disgraced from his own company. How sad. He's been a really good patriot his whole life. And there's no limit then. If they do this, then then they go through our personal emails, right? The CEOs from Miss America that were CEOs for a very, very long time, that's how they got fired. Gretchen Carlson went through their personal emails and found a couple joking, sexist, or supposedly sexist remarks from the CEOs that were joking to each other, thinking that they were talking in private. And Gretchen Carlson snooped and got a hold of their emails and then fired them from their own companies, right? This happened from ESPN and some other places. So we can't do this, you guys. We just can't do this. And everybody should be against this. Everyone should be horrified at it, no matter what side of the political fence you're on, right, left. You don't like Papa John's, who cares? This is not okay. This is a nightmare that we're living in. Snooping through text messages all of a sudden, I'm going to get fired from my own company and slandered and smeared. Come on. Gretchen Carlson blocked you on communist Twitter? That's funny. Paula Dean. He was, yes, you're right, Russ. He was provoked into it during the, using the N-word during a racial sensitivity training session. You're right. It was in a role of someone who needed to be more sensitive. And yes, he shouldn't have his life destroyed. You're right, Russ. Thank you. It was a skit. So it was a setup to begin with. It was a damn setup. How sneaky and disgusting is that? Sneaky and disgusting. I recently got an email from the PJ company talking about how they were plotting some new directions. Grandstanding garbage. Ugh. Well, it sucks because Papa John is the face of the company. And he's in a tough situation because he doesn't want to necessarily remove himself from the company and remove his face, because that's, he probably wants to make his money still. I would assume he's still making an income from it. But at the same time, I would be like, F you. If I'm going down, you guys are all going down with me. I kind of would feel like doing that. Sorry, but I would be kind of like, screw you guys. Can they even do that? Is that even legal, by the way, to fire someone from their own company? I guess it is. Why does president want to control search results on Google? You know why? Because they are censoring free speech. That's why. He wants to make it fair. He doesn't want to control the search results on Google. Nice try, troll. He wants to make it fair. All right? I'm a conservative. I lean conservative. I think that's no secret at this point. I am getting censored left and right on Twitter. And when you look up Google, you have to find, things get buried very quickly. And Google and the search engines and Twitter, they control what you see. They do. And they always put the most hateful, terrible news about Trump right up there on front. And anything else that's actually even true news or that's somewhat positive of news, you have to really, really search for it. They bury it. Now, that's a fact. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a fact. We know that the big people at Google are completely far left, very radical far left, and they don't let any kind of disagreement in there. I mean, you have to believe and you have to be very far left to work for the company and to stay hired there. I know this from many sources that actually work there. So he is right. They do control the search results. And he's right to finally say something about it. Why should we take that anymore? We're just... People who lean conservative are very sick and tired of having the liberals control everything. All of the narratives, all the search engines, all the social media networks, Twitter, Facebook, being shadow banned left and right, being censored, getting into Twitter timeouts and Twitter suspensions and Facebook suspensions for not even doing anything, for posting something about illegal immigrants. Or transgenders, you get into Twitter timeout, and we're sick of it. So yeah, I'm glad he stood up for free speech. I'm glad, because no one else is going to. He's like Big Daddy, Big Grandpa Trump, putting his foot down and saying no one's going to take advantage of our Americans anymore. Conservatives, build your own version. Yes, I'm on a rant. I think they banned me because I was harassing Meathead. Who's Meathead? What do we do to support Papa John, though? I kind of want to, I'm like, should I order a bunch of Papa John pizzas? But no, that would more like I'm supporting the company that's no longer Papa John. I feel like we should start a Papa John's GoFundMe account. I really feel bad for the guy. He's a really good guy, really good patriot. Can we start a GoFundMe for Papa John? Just to even show support, like people care about you. I feel bad. All right, and lastly, what is this stupidity? Ah, yes, Teen Vogue indoctrinating kids at a faster and faster rate. Teen Vogue, good old Teen Vogue. And kids wonder, and we wonder, why kids grow up so damn confused and messed up. Look at this. How to use gender-neutral words and why they're important. This is back to school. Make sure that you use gender-neutral words when you're back to school. This is disgusting, and it's satanic. This is not how God intended us. He did not want us to use gender-neutral words. No. Gender-inclusive language isn't typically something you learn in school. No, because we shouldn't, because that's crazy talk, because that's mental disorder. But it is incredibly important to make life easier for non-binary peers. Okay, so the 98% should roll over and do whatever the 2% of the population wants, right? 98% of the population should conform and bend themselves into a pretzel, change their communication, just because of that 0.1% or the 0.2%. I don't even think it's 2% of the population. Can you believe this? And even this right here, really, we shouldn't tolerate. Nobody is putting their foot down and saying no. The 98% of the people that are fully functioning human beings who are healthy and normal are not going to bend themselves over for this 2% of people that are choosing to be weird. And yes, it's a choice to be a non-binary person. I don't care what you say. It's a choice to be a strange non-binary person. And they draw attention to themselves all the time. They pretend like they were just born with it, but they weren't. This is made up bullshit. There are ways to practice gender-inclusive language beyond just respecting gender-neutral pronouns. So it gets even harder. They're basically handicapping people by their speech. For instance, replacing ladies and gentlemen with everybody helps include people who do not identify as ladies or gentlemen. Using gendered terms such as ladies and gentlemen is highly presumptuous, especially in today's society, in which many people are aware that they don't identify as male or female and therefore are uncomfortable with this kind of language. Oh, I'm so sorry that you're so uncomfortable. So sorry that I've triggered you because I called you a lady or a gentleman because you look like a lady or gentleman. Respect your opinion, but feel it's subjective. Why should I tune into TBN and watch Huckabee? I don't know what TBN is. You know what this is, guys, though? Beyond just satanic and anti-love, anti-relationship, anti-family. This is intentionally dumbing kids down. This is intentionally keeping kids dumb. Because if they're constantly feeling like they need to watch their pronouns and watch their language and focus on this and then learn a new language just to make genderqueer people feel better, and then you're constantly monitoring your language, right? You're constantly monitoring it and this, and I have to learn this, and I have to learn this to make this person feel uncomfortable, this person feel inclusive. Oh my God, there's no room left over in your brain. There's no room left over in your brain to actually want to learn things that might improve yourself. There's no room left in your mind to actually maybe seek on valuable, meaningful pursuits. Like, I don't know, what you want to be when you grow up. Or maybe giving back your time to causes that are important in the world. Or how to be a better person. Learning a real skill. Bettering yourself in some way, having a goal or two. No, there's no room left in your mind to think about those things when you're focused on these acidine issues like what pronoun you should use or what word you should use to make other people not feel offended 24/7. This is, I guarantee you, this is a strategy to keep kids dumb and controlled. So refrain from defaulting to man in descriptors, i.e. postman. Remove gendered language like using postman as the default word. No, I'm going to use postman all day, every day. When we speak about mankind or the achievements of man, what we're doing is confirming the subconscious bias that men are intellectually, morally, and physically superior to women, which is clearly, I don't know, it might be actually true these days. I would say these days this is starting to be more and more true. By using such language, we exclude women and, for that matter, non-binary people from history. Well, there was no non-binary people in history. Actually, this is a very made-up term. It's made-up people, and this just happened in the last 5 years. So there are no non-binary people in history. So why even discuss it? Why even discuss them? And it was most men that came up with the inventions up until the last few decades ago. We can avoid erasing women and non-binary people from everyday conversations by using gender-neutral descriptions. Some examples include folks or fox. Okay, so we're going to now have to use the word fox. Members of Congress instead of congressmen. First-year student instead of freshman. Really? Hey, what's up, first-year student? Yeah, I gained the first-year student 15 pounds. In college. I mean, come on. Child instead of daughter. Kiddo. We're supposed to use kiddo instead of boy or girl. Oh my gosh. Nibbling instead of niece or nephew. Now we're supposed to call them nibbling? First of all, that sounds gross. A little pedophilic, if you ask me. Second of all, come on. Come on. I'm not going to call someone nibbling. And a sibling? So I can't just call you my brother? I can't call you my sister. I have to call you, you're my sibling. My sibling. No, I'm sorry. I have 4 brothers and I'm proud of it. I'm really snarky this morning. Sorry. I just can't stand this BS. It really drives me crazy. Partner. You're my partner. You're my significant other. I can't call my ex-boyfriend actually went crazy if I would call him a partner or refer to someone as a partner. He would say, it's not very sexy, it's not very romantic to call your man your partner. And he was right. You should call him your lover, your boyfriend, your man. Your man, but not your partner. Partner sounds so like law firm like we're partners in this law firm. It's very professional. Or it sounds like a lesbian couple, kind of. Server instead of waiter, firefighter instead of fireman. So stupid. Just because a non-binary person isn't present doesn't make it okay to use binary language. Now, hold those people around you accountable. Hold them accountable. Make sure you thought police them. Make sure you speech police them, right? You're not going to get away with this. Even if you think this or you say it out loud without any non-binary people, now they're going to go after you. And now they're going to correct your language. We're living in 1984 Orwellian times, I'm telling you. It's worse. It's a brave new world. More like a shitty new world. So basically, the next generation of people are going to be completely effed up in the head. 100% cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, straitjacket worthy people, right? But what's scary is that they will think that there's nothing wrong with it. They will think they're completely normal. I'm sorry, but if my kids start correcting my language and say, oh no, you should use the word nibbling to refer to your sibling or your niece, and you know, you should use this non-binary term to use this, I'm going to slap them. I'm going to slap them and spank them so hard they're not even going to be able to talk. I'm going to say, if you correct me one more time, we're going to get that again. There's no correcting of anyone's language. There's the truth, and then there are lies. And we're going to live in the world of truth and not in the world of fantasies and lies. You know, people who say they're non-binary people, or people who say that they're gender fluid and they're you know, their gender changes 5 times a day, they're living in the world of make-believe, right? They're living in the world of make-believe. You know, I'm a tiger, I'm a triangle. You know, tomorrow I'm a triangle, the next day I'm a cat or a tiger. That's make-believe. Okay, and make-believe is maybe cute when you're 5. It's not cute when you're 15 or 25. That's not cute. And it's not the real world. And we're actually enabling mental disorder. We're enabling fantasy and mental disorder. And that's scary. Very scary. How did Americans ever become so mentally fragile? I don't know. The last lady that wanted me to call her partner, I told her, we ain't running for a fucking law firm, so no. That's funny. I like it. And lastly, we will go here one more time. One more little shocking story today. From Christian headlines, new court ruling may make child pornography more likely to be produced. Yep. Daily outrage for today. Daily dose of outrage. A federal court ruling has reversed rules that regulate the pornography industry. The change, which was ruled in early August, alters the U.S. Code Title 18, Section 2257, that says producers in the porn industry must keep records of the age of actors. The law also said the government officials could review those records at any time. Gail Dines, author of Pornland, How Pornography Has Hijacked Our Sexuality, and University of Massachusetts Boston Professor David Levy said that the changes are the only way to verify and track performers' ages and serves as a major incentive for businesses across the complex supply chain to monitor content. Now, looky here. The Third Circuit of Appeals ruled that many of the section's requirements were unconstitutional. Under the new law, porn producers will use an age verification form. A lot of lawyers that I've spoken to says it's pretty much a rabbit hole of a law, so it might do better for us to have another way to try and prevent children from use as pornography. We've got to act quickly because I don't trust them to not be uploading images of porn. Isn't that crazy? So they're going around us, as they usually do. These laws always kind of slipper and sneak into place. and trying to make certain amendments and certain loopholes to allow this kind of garbage to come on in. To come on in. We welcome it. And so now they've removed the age limit of porn, or the statement that says that keeps track of their ages, which I think is very important. What would be the reason for that? You always just have to wonder when you see these things, why? Right? Just why? Question that. Why would they do this? And the only conclusion to come up with why they would do that, it was perfectly good law before. If it worked, if it ain't fixed, don't break it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Why would they do that? Probably for sinister reasons. Probably for sinister reasons, right? Opening up the gateway to allow more child porn in there. Legally this time. Legally. Not on the black dark web, but legally. Hi, everyone that just entered the room. Hey. Hey, everyone. All right. And, okay, just one more thing. I know we're running out of time here, you guys, but thank you for staying with me. There was one more thing that I was very disturbed by today, or this week. And, thank you guys. Hi. Yes, this is insanity. Our dog won. Yeah, have you noticed that everyone who's in the Obama camp, it's Obama, and then everyone else who is in like a socialist or a Democrat, they always use the word folks. Folks think like this. Folks think like this. You know what Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez said? The reason why is because folks have 2 jobs now. All U.S. folks now have 2 jobs. That's why there's no middle class anymore. Like what? Okay, you probably heard this. This is another outrageous thing, an attack on Christians. An attack on Christians, as usual. As usual, Christians will continue to be painted as the villains of the world. I told you that. I said that in my book as well. Christians are being painted as the villains of the world because we're an easy target and because they want to position Christians and the Bible as hate speech, as bigoted, as outdated, as non-inclusive, not compassionate, right? Because God says we have man and we have woman. There's only 2 genders. And marriage is supposed to be between a man and a woman. And transgenders, men dressing up as women or women dressing up as men is really against God's word. It's really a sin. But, liberals want to disguise that as much as possible. They want to just villainize that and make it seem like we are the weirdos. We are the outcasts. We are the ones that are bigoted and hateful and non-accepting of other people, and we should be marginalized, or we need to grow up and get with the modern times. And that, throw out that old Bible stuff because that's ridiculous. That's too old. It's antiquated. So this was really sad. Senator Ricardo Lara claims that biblical views perpetuated murder and torture of children. And I'm sure you guys have heard this. In a despicable attack last Thursday, August 16th, Senator Ricardo Lara, and I told you this would be happening too, again, I predicted it in my book, slandered therapists, pastors, and Bible-believing Christians on the floor of the California Senate. Lara's defamatory statement came while speaking in support of AB 2943, horrible by the way, a bill to label as consumer fraud the sale of goods and services to adults wanting help to change unwanted same-sex attraction and gender dysphoria. I talk about this in my book too. So basically I would be banned. I wouldn't be allowed to operate in California. The disgusting slur from Lara claimed that beliefs about conversion lead to torture and even perpetuated the brutal murder of 2 children in Los Angeles at the hands of their parents. Senator Lara is referring to these horrendous crimes in Southern California. Okay, some crimes. And luckily, California Family Council President Jonathan Keller stood up for Christians and said it is wholly unacceptable for elected official like Senator Lara to attack therapists, pastors, and Bible-believing Christians for simply disagreeing with his views on sexuality. We simply don't agree. We have different views. To claim the religious views held by millions of Californians perpetuated the torture and murder of innocent children is a ghastly lie that should not be tolerated from any person claiming to represent California voters. Thank you for standing up to that BS. Well, here's the thing, and this is what I say too. We spend all this time and all this propaganda on TV, on children's cartoons now even, in the media, in articles, etc., and in school, in education from kindergarten up, telling people to explore other genders. We say, gender is fluid, sexuality is fluid. Go ahead and explore, cross-dress. You know, you really should try to explore other genders. And people are all too happy to, if someone feels like they're questioning their gender at all, maybe questioning their sexuality. Oh, great. Cool. Here, let me help you with that. Let me assist you with that. Let me give you a bunch of hormones. Let me put you on hormone therapy and get you transitioning into the opposite sex. Let's talk about your upcoming bottom surgery. Let's talk about facial feminization surgery. Let's support you in your transition. You know, people are all too happy to get people to transition into the opposite gender or to get them to come out and join the pride parade and get comfortable with your new sexuality. You know, gender is fluid. But when someone actually wants to maybe work on themselves and go to counseling around their confusion, and because they believe, you know what, I want to be heterosexual. I want to live a heterosexual life, and I don't really want these feelings of same-sex attraction. I need help. I want help, and I'm seeking it out. We're telling them that they can't have that same kind of support and help. They're not allowed, right? Where are all those people that are advocating that, you know, explore your gender and explore, get comfortable? Well, let's help people get comfortable with healing from their same-sex attraction. If they don't want it, we should allow them to heal. We should allow them to seek help with that. And allow counseling services to help them with that. And allow the church to be able to be free to speak about that too. Right now the church is handcuffed around that. So just another very sad thing that makes me really sad because, you know, it's only a matter of time unless Christians speak out. And by the way, where's the church? I feel like the church is just silent on these issues. And I get that they need to cater to political correctness, but we need some churches, some real people with cojones to stand up and say this. We have to stand up for Christians and people who believe in God and Christian principles. Let me just read you a quick paragraph from my book about this, and then I'll send you on your way after a quick prayer. See, God is removed from society. This is one of the impacts, you know, within the next 5 years. They're on a mission to dismantle the traditional American family headed by a male and female. They're on a mission to dismantle the relationship between men and women and traditional marriage and remove God from society. So this is one of the impacts. God will be removed from society. The idea that gender is nothing but an irrelevant social construct as opposed to a deliberate design created by God is obviously an atheist, anti-God perspective. And when we are at the point where quietly believing in basic Christian principles is now considered hate speech and bigotry, then Christians become the villains of the world. Do you see how cunning that is? Now, I've never paid much attention, really, to the kind of the Bible-thumping, really evangelical Christians marching down the streets. Nor did I ever even imagine a few years ago that I would be in this position talking about this right now and really standing up for Christian beliefs. Never really thought it. Really didn't imagine that. But anyone who stands up for God's intention, or even for basic truth or common sense for that matter, like man and women, there are two genders, is either bullied until they bend their beliefs or they get vilified and ostracized from society. All right, guys, that's it. I will leave you there, and let's say our quick prayer. I love you. Thank you so much for hanging on today. I love you, all my loyal peeps. You're amazing, and I really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, even despite my airheadness sometimes, my technical difficulties. I'm actually talking to New Right Network today about getting a manager on the other side who can do all the technical work for me so I can just do my show without any kind of interruptions, and I can have a nice flowing show. All right? Dear Lord, I pray that more women and men see the light and can open their hearts to love instead of hate, can open their hearts to unity rather than divisiveness, can open their minds to truth rather than lies. I pray for love and protection for our great President Trump and his family and all those working for us, that they remain safe and resilient in the face of so many forces working against them. I pray for all of you and the truth warriors of the world who are courageously speaking the truth and boldly working to bring those who are in the darkness into the light. Put on the full armor of God so that you will be able to stand firm against the schemes of the devil. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the powers, against the world forces of this darkness, against the spiritual forces of wickedness in heavenly places. I pray for all of you and the truth warriors of the world, that you may find true and lasting love, and that God puts an incredible helpmate to you on this journey, and that he brings you all the beautiful family, the joy, and all the love and blessings that you deserve. And lastly, we know that good conquers evil, that love conquers hate, and that together and with God's help and grace, we have this country, and we make this country and our world great again. In Jesus' name, amen. I love you guys. You're amazing. Thank you so much. And I believe I'm still doing the show on Monday for Labor Day. But check back on my Twitter, DeAnna Lorraine 7, just to make sure. But I think I am going to do it. Next Wednesday will be the start of my co-hosting with Joe Biggs. It'll be awesome. So stay tuned next Wednesday, and things will go smoother then, no technical difficulties. All right. Love you. Bye.